Hey there, Matthew Baker here. For those who don't know, I'm a professional counsellor, and today what I'm going to do is answer your question, which is, what is the best thing I can do to help with my depression? Now, there are so many treatments and techniques out there which have been shown to be helpful in treating depression, whether that's physical exercise, CBT, mindfulness, acceptance and commitment therapy, and so on. And it's important that when you try these things to fully commit to it, to see what you really respond well to, and then get in a recovery plan which is tailored to your needs and gets you on the fastest and most effective road to fully recovering from depression. Now, what I'm going to do is answer this question from a bit of a bigger picture sort of standpoint, because I don't really want to go into which technique is the best and get caught up in that debate, because I believe in a multifaceted approach and having your practice tailored specifically to the person's needs, as everyone's needs are different. Someone may be more drawn towards physical exercise for handling their mood. Someone else may be drawn to mindfulness and meditation. It really does depend and vary person to person. Now, what I will say is that when you're trying to recover or even just cope with depression, the best thing you can do is practice self-love and patience on this journey. So let me go into each of them individually. So self-love, this is critical to practice when implementing the techniques and strategies to help with your depression. As if you do not practice this, your odds of it working will drastically decrease. So let's look at an example to explain this. Let's say you tried mindfulness, and within the first couple of tries, you're doing pretty well with it, you've applied it to a few different areas, but then you have a bit of a slip up, you get in that unconscious frame, and you go a little bit into depression, and you think, oh my gosh, why not implement that mindfulness strategy? You may get really down on yourself and think, hey, I've just learned this technique and I can't even implement it. I'm such a loser, I'm an idiot. I'm never gonna get better from depression, and I'm just gonna submit to it as I'm gonna be depressed my whole life and there's nothing I can do to fix it. This is what can happen if you don't practice self-love. And you can see that if you did have this frame when on your recovery journey, then it's not going to go very well, as you want to avoid things which are painful and approach things which are pleasurable. And of course, it is not pleasurable to be having such negative thoughts when you're trying to recover, and it may actually make things way worse, because if you try to get out of depression, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of strength, a lot of fuel from within to go on that recovery journey. But if you try and you put in all this effort and you really get a little bit vulnerable, you think, hey, I'm going to give this a shot, and you immediately sack yourself down, squash yourself down, and you think, hey, I'm never going to do this, and it may push you way back in the process and make it 10 times harder to get up the next time. However, let's contrast this to self-love. Now, if you were self-loving and you tried this mindfulness strategy, it worked a couple of times, but then you didn't implement it properly, and instead of thinking, oh, I'm such an idiot, I can't do this, I shouldn't have even tried, you just think, hey, this is part of the journey. I'm going to have a few trip-ups. I'm rewiring my brain after 20 years possibly of not practicing mindfulness and going immediately to this negative thinking pattern. And it's going to take some time for me to implement it effectively. And recovery is very much a journey like this, where you're up and down over time, but eventually you get better and better. If that was your mindset and you were self-loving, thinking, hey, at least I tried, I'm still on this journey, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and the recovery journey is about having those little trip ups, but learning from them. So next time you do have the trip up, it's going to be a little bit better, a little bit less intense, go for a little bit less long, and you'll gradually get there. If you have this approach, you're going to be so much more likely to implement these strategies effectively and to have that positive self-talk, which really gives you the nurturing sort of space to go through this journey, fully commit to it, and again, have a way better chance of recovering. Self-love really is the fuel that will drive this journey to recovery, as opposed to, again, being really self-critical and rude to yourself, which will instead squash you and make it 10 times harder to get up next time, and for someone to convince you, or you to convince yourself that, hey, I'm going to try and better my situation and recover from depression. And the other best thing you can do when helping your depression is to be patient. And there's two parts to this. The first part is to be patient with the journey. So let's say you've done physical exercise for a month and you still aren't seeing that great results. And you think, hey, I've been putting so much work in this, I've been grinding my ass off to wake up in the morning before work and do physical exercise, but I'm still not seeing that many great results. But this takes time. This really does take time for your body to adjust to it, your mind to adjust to it. It really does take time on this journey to see the results sometimes, because again, think about it. You've been wiring your brain in this depressive sort of loop for maybe a very long time, and that is your baseline now. And whether it's positive thinking techniques, physical exercise, or whatever it is, it takes time to unscramble this brain and for it to be in that happy, positive place which you want to be in. So be patient on this journey. Don't just think, hey, I've done this for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and I'm not seeing the results I want. Think about it and do it for a long period of time. Just keep at it and think, hey, trust in the process, and eventually I'll get to the destination which I want to get to, as it does take time. Again, 20, possibly 20 plus years of wiring your brain in this depressive sort of cycle or this depressive baseline, and it takes some time to get out of it. So be patient with the journey. The second part is to be patient with yourself, as again, you will make mistakes. You're gonna have slip-ups, you're gonna fall, and things will rock your boat, and you're not gonna be able to control it sometimes, and you're gonna go back in this little bit of a downward cycle. But again, the process of recovering from depression is this, where again, it's not a matter of like having slip-ups and thinking, oh, I've completely failed or whatever. No, the slip-ups are actually there to help you recover as well. The idea is to have less and less slip-ups, so they're less and less intense, and they're less and less long in duration, so it's going to be shorter and shorter each time. And again, be patient with this. Don't just think, don't have your expectations to be, oh, I've tried these techniques and I'm going to be happy forever. People who are generally happy still have low points. Not everyone's going to be happy 100% of the time. That isn't actually the goal of recovery. The goal of recovery is not get into this depressive space where, of course, you want to have a generally happy baseline as opposed to the generally depressive baseline. But again, being sad is a part of life, and it is going to happen, and you are going to have falls and trip-ups. So be patient with yourself and trust in the process. And remember, your expectations should be like this, where you should think, oh, I'm going to slip up again in the future, but I'm going to trust in myself. I'm going to have the tools to get out of it better and better, and it's going to happen on a less and less intense level, and I will get to that happy baseline which I want to get to. So there you have it. The best thing you can do when helping your depression is, of course, take action and do the right techniques which have been shown to be very positive in helping depression, but of course also have self-love along this journey and be patient. As if you're impatient and self-critical, it can actually hinder your recovery journey with depression and actually shoot you back down and make you feel way worse and make you so resistant to stepping up the next time and trying again. So again, be patient and practice self-love. And I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.